Hi, my name is Lisa Ellis, and I'd like to thank you for purchasing my tutorial. I'm very excited today to bring you two projects. First, the Infinity Rose Fidget toy, and also the Infinity Rose bracelet that's very fun to wear. So let us start out right away by talking about the weave and how it works. This is how it looks before it's connected or fastened. You can see right off that, well, let me fix the focus. You can see right off that there are smaller rings circling around a larger rings that form up the core. These smaller rings do not interlink with each other. They lie side by side. And the larger rings don't touch each other. It's the staggering of the smaller rings that holds the piece together. There are 8 rows of smaller rings. Fits in there perfect, the tension's perfect, so it really enhances the movement of your toy. So let's get started. What is this weave called? This is a variation of serpent spine, which if you're curious about it and would like to learn more about it, it's in the Male Artisans International League database. The difference, what makes this a variation, is serpent spine has an additional row of rings going up the center to provide stability. But we don't want that because we want this extra flexibility that we have. So that's why it's a variation of serpent spine. So let's talk about supplies. For these outer rings, the smaller ones, I'm using anodized aluminum because I can get all these awesome colors. I'm using an 8-color rainbow. I'm getting all my rings in this project from both Metal Designz and the Ring Lord. So if you like those, you might want to check them out. The outer rings, as I said, are anodized aluminum. They're 18 SWG, 1/4 inch inner diameter. Okay. Now the rings going up the center I'd like to talk about a little bit is for this project and most of these toys that I make, I use anodized aluminum. But if you're going to make this for a child, you might want to consider using stainless steel or using my directions for the rubber rings used as a core, because children can be a little rough with their toys, and my concern would be that they might spring a couple of the inner rings. But for normal use, anodized or bright aluminum works great. So a third supply is some whiteout. That'll help us when we're joining the piece to mark our rings in an inconspicuous way. So there, I told you there were 8 rows that circle the core. The piece is 40 units long, meaning there's 40 large rings running down its length. So I believe, let's get started. I think we're ready. I think this tutorial is good for all skill levels. I really do. I don't think you're going to have trouble with it at all. If you do, you can always contact me, but I know you're going to get it. Okay, we start out with one of the large rings, and we're putting a pair of each of our 8 colors on here. First of all, let me point out that I've laid out all my colors. This makes it so much easier to work, to have them sequentially. And let me digress. Let me talk about the exact colors I'm using. I've made a little cardboard thing. Okay, on the left, we've got red, moves to orange, gold, lime green, green, sky blue, royal blue, and purple. So those are the colors I'm using. And we'll usually be working one way or the other down the rainbow. So if you lay out your rings like this, it makes it very simple. So what I want you to do, like I said, is pick up a pair of each of those rings in the order of the rainbow or the reverse color of the rainbow. At this point it doesn't matter, but you want them to be in the color of the rainbow. So here I've got it reversed, but that doesn't matter at this point because we'll be flopping it around. So we've got 16 rings on there. What we're going to be doing is pulling 8 of them up and gathering them with a large ring, and pulling 8 of them down and gathering with the large ring. So we'll be creating two units at once. So let's get started. What I want you to do is pick up the first ring in every pair. The first row is always the fussiest to pick out your rings, but you can see what we're doing. It's very simple. We're just picking up the first ring in every pair. All right. I think I got it. I always give it a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close my ring. So now you'll see the rings on the top, the small rings on the top are circling 2 of the large rings. That's the way it will look down the whole length of our piece. So the rings on the bottom need to be gathered because they're only circling 1 large ring. So let's do that. I'll flip it over and pick up the rings we didn't pick up before, which will be, again, the first row, or the first ring in every pair. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I've got them all. So now we've used 3 large rings. I'll fix my focus. And you can see our rows of small rings are forming up already. The new ring will always go to the right of the last one. Yeah, it's as easy as that. At this point, we're going to mark the bottom, because in using the color sequence, I'm using the bottom matters, because we're swirling our colors to emphasize the swirl of the rows themselves, the spines. So I want you to hold it in your hand so the rainbow is backwards. So see how we're going from purple to dark blue to light blue, etc. This is the top, and we want to mark the bottom. If you're using a solid color scheme or a random color, scheme, it doesn't matter, the top or the bottom. Okay, so there we go. See, we've marked the bottom. And the colors are moving in the opposite order of the rainbow. So I think you can anticipate how we're going to proceed here. We're always going to be looking at the top row of the stack, and we're either going to be matching the previous color, we're either going to be, got too many things in my hands, we're either going to be matching the previous color or we're going to be moving forward on the rainbow. Right now we're matching the previous color. So, and we'll do that for the fidget toy till there's 5 rings. But I'll show you that. So I'm just grabbing the top ring only. Flipped the royal blue to the side, and then I add a single royal blue. Flip the sky blue, add one of those. So like I said, if you lay your colors out in the order of the rainbow, it makes it a lot easier because you just intuitively know where to pick up from. When you're making yours, try to be, always with chainmail, you're conscious of your closures. Try to do a good job with your closures because the toy operates by the rings gliding over each other. So the less snags you have, the better. I'm having a little trouble getting my closures perfect because I don't want to waste your time while I fuss over them, but you would take a little more time. Okay. So now we've got Now we have got, hold on, let me, oh, all right, sorry, I got temporarily distracted. So we've added all these new rings, extended every color by one, and now we gather them up. So it's always adding 8 rings and then gathering them up. So you're picking up every other ring, just the new ones that you've just added. Okay. So there you go. We've got 4 large rings and a color run right now of 3 smaller rings. So we're going to keep doing that, adding 1 unit at a time. You put on your 8 rings on the top large ring only, and then you gather them up. So for the Fidget toy, we have color runs of 5. Remember, bottom matters, so I just had to flip that to put the bottom to the left. So here we've got 5 dark blue, and then the next color I added was purple, because that's next in the order of the rainbow. After sky blue, we went to royal blue. After dark green, we went to sky blue. So you can see we're just moving forward on the rainbow, and that having your rings laid out before you makes it really easy to keep it fresh in your mind what's going on there. Okay? So let's move on to the completed length. Finding the bottom. Okay. Each row will have a complete rainbow. They're just staggered on the bottom where they start. You can see that the colors kind of rotate, corkscrew like this. That'll complement the movement of the rows when you move it. So let's examine one row. Let's start with the red, because that's where most people start with their rainbow. So if you see there in my left hand, it went 5 rings of red, 5 rings of orange, then the yellow, lime green, green, sky blue, royal blue, and then the purple. And it's really as easy as that. That's all there is to it, except for the join. And you'll see that's not difficult either. I'm going to show you how to join it with a solid color first, so that you're not distracted by the colors. So this is what it looks like I showed you before it's been joined. At this point I want you to check your work real good. Your right hand twist away from you and your left hand twist towards you, and this will straighten those rows right out. So just scan carefully along the length of every row. What we're looking for is to make sure none of the little rings are linked together, and that the rows are straight, that one is not drifting into another. Let's say if this ring didn't go to the left of that one, but was on the right, it would be really obvious right now. So you would be able to give that a quick fix. But twist your right hand away from you and your left hand towards you. Always do it in that manner. And let's join. Getting out my white out. Okay, we're going to mark a ring on the right hand side, and it doesn't matter which, just an end ring on the right hand side. Okay, with the white out. If you don't have any white out, probably like a dry erase board marker might work good. Something that can be removed. So let me blow on it a second. All right. Now this part's really important for proper tension on your coils, that holds them in place when you're playing with your toy, is that we are not attaching the same ring to itself. There's an offsetting that happens. So twist right hand to the right, left hand towards you. Look at that marked ring on the right. Set it on the table. Oh, I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm sorry about that. We didn't mark the left ring. Okay, so here is your marked ring on the right. We're going to go down 2 rows. Let me hold it. This is my marked ring right here. We're going to go 1 row, 2 rows. This one is, if you can see, we've got the marked ring, and then we count down 2. And we follow this one all the way to the other end. So I'm twisting again to make my rows nice and straight, all the way to the end. There's usually stragglers. Okay, so I've got that marked with my thumb on the right, follow across that row all the way to the left, and my finger is on top of that row here. So we're going to mark that one. Oops, and get it all over my finger. All right, let me set that down and let that dry. I'll blow on it. All right, now we're good to go to make the actual join. Let me close this up so it doesn't dry out. Okay, right hand twist away, left hand twist towards you. You want to make sure your rows are properly straight. Make sure you can see your marked rings. Put it on the table and pull the ends towards you. Okay, you can gently roll them forward, the same, so that you can clearly see your marked rings. Okay, so I think you can see my marked rings are right here and right here. We're going to join those 2 rows to be one. I'm going to do it in another color so it's easier for you to see on this example. We're going to go to down, we're going to pick up to the right of the marked ring on the right, and we're going to go under to the left of the marked ring on the left. So let's pick it up. Don't worry about picking it up. Just keep those marked rings in sight. Okay. So we're grabbing this large ring to the right side of the marked ring. And then on the other side, we're picking up to the left of the marked ring. Okay, let me close that. So if I hold it just right, you should be able to see how we formed one. Checking it at this point is a little nerve-wracking, because, not nerve-wracking, but it's a little confusing because things are not fastened down enough. But you can see that we've joined 2 different rows to be one. And now we just keep working around the circumference. Okay, flip this ring here to our next available space. Go to the other side, see where we've attached before, flip this ring to the next available space. Okay, see what we've got there? All right, we'll do it again. And this can be turned at this point. After you get that first ring, it can be turned. You're not going to drop it and lose it. Okay, so that ring, the blue ring is there. We flip to the next row. Grab. We go to the piece on top. Go to the next available space right there. All right, I think you've got the idea. Let me just get this finished out. I'm flipping, going to the next available space on the top row. The pliers are slipping in my hand. It's a little warm in the light box. You might want to, when you start a joint, count out your 8 rings, and that way you'll be sure you haven't forgotten to put one in, but you'll be able to tell when we do the check pretty easily. At this point, it's easy to accidentally link a small one in with another small ring. So just use some care. Again, you'll find that during the check if you've done it. Okay, this is our last ring. This is my second take, and I had marked another ring. Don't be confused by that. There we go. So there's our start, and then we check every row by pushing the row away from you with your right hand and towards you with your left finger, and just check every row to make sure it's a straight line. And we've got it. That's it. That's how we put the toy together. It's as easy as that. And I'm going to do that one more time with the colored one, just to show you that don't let the colors, just use the same process, and don't let the colors distract you. Okay, so this was our mark for our start. We want that on our left. Let's take that out now, so it doesn't get in our way. I'm going to give it a twist, straighten out those rows. This is where we'd check it real good. Check each row. Remember, for interlocking small rings and for making sure your rows are nice and straight. So I've already checked this one and it's good. Now remember, we're going to set it down and mark any ring on the right. So I'm going to go for this, I'm going to go for that violet. Blow on it. All right, now we're going to isolate that row with our hands. Okay, I've put the marked ring above my right thumb, twisting my rows straight. Okay, we're going to count down 2 rows. Blue would be our next row. Sky blue is row number 2. Okay, so isolate that row. We've got the sky blue on the right, follow it across. Dark green, light green, yellow, orange, red, purple, royal blue. So the left side, the mark on the left is always 2 rows below the mark on the right. Mark on the left is 2 rows below the mark on the right, and you can double check it by going back the opposite direction. Here my dark blue is marked, next row up is my purple, next row up is my red. Straighten out the rows, follow it across, and we are at the marked ring. Okay, so my rows are straight, my rings are marked. I'm going to set it down and pull it towards me. Let me get this paper out of the way. All right, turn it a little bit so I can see my marks. The purple one kind of spun around on me, but that's okay. So I can see my marked rings. Our linking rings are going to match the color on the right to continue our color sequence. So I'm going to start out with the violet. Remember, I'm coming up to the right of the marked ring, and since it's violet, I'm adding violet. I'm coming up to the left of the marked ring, which is blue. Now, if you're following my colors exactly, you'll see that we're coming up right beside the other violet. Don't worry about that. I mean, we want that to happen. It is in a separate row. They're just adjoining each other. Just like this purple jogs over to purple there. Now it's going to jog over to purple over there. And so I wanted to show you it in one color first. So we flip. Our next color is royal blue. We go in the next available space. Oops. Which is to the left of the sky blue. So we just keep working our way around. Flip, sky blue goes to the left of the green. You can see my rows are lining up real nice. Remember, you can turn it as you need to, and you should, so you can easily reach the areas that you want. So, I know you've got it now. I'm just going to fill this out for completeness. Remember, you don't want your rings to link with one another, the small rings. Almost there. Okay, to the right of the orange, to the left of the red, because that's our next available space. To the right of the red, to the left of the purple. And there it is, we finished it. Again, at the join, check each row, make sure it's straight. And that you have no small rings linked together. Now what's happening color-wise at the seam is that the colors, the rainbow is coming together and then it moves apart from each other. It's pretty cool. So the rainbow is flowing forward to backward through the toy. Yeah, I just love playing with this. They're really fun. If you notice, every once in a while it might catch a little bit because one of the rings may fall to the center temporarily, but as you move it, it'll pop back out. So if you ever feel a little catch in it, just reverse direction and it comes right back out. All right, let me check my notes and make sure I've covered everything I wanted to. Let's just review that those are 5 ring color sections. And then we change color to the next color up on the rainbow. 40 large rings around. And I think that's it. Yay! Now we're going to make the bracelet. The bracelet is fun. There's two things different making the bracelet, other than that we're using a rubber or epdm core, and that's with the rubber core. Let me show you. For the rubber core, we're using 16 gauge, not 18. We're using 16 gauge 5/16 rubber rings or epdm rings. You'll notice, you may not be able to tell on the screen, but the inner circumference of the rubber ring is smaller than the inner circumference of the metal ring. So one of the big differences between the metal cord toy and the rubber cord toy is that there are only seven rows instead of 8. This only makes a minor change in our color sequence. We just leave a row off. So the other difference is how we have to construct, but it's pretty intuitive, and let me show you that right now. Again, we're still using anodized aluminum on the outside, 18 SWG 1/4 inch inner diameter, and the rubber rings are 16 SWG with a 5/16 inner diameter. So let's get started. Those black rings are very hard to see on the camera, so I've coated mine with whiteout, which I thought was genius. So there we go. To start out, you have 2 rubber rings. And remember last time we put a pair of each of the colors on here? This time we're only putting a single one. A single of every color in the rainbow, excepting green, dark green. You can see the lime green is here. So there's 7 rings instead of 8. We're going through the whole rainbow, but omitting green. That was completely arbitrary. Through the course of the piece, we're going to be short a color in every color repeat, and it all works out in the end. There's an equal amount of every color in the piece. I think I did not say that the piece for the bracelet will be 56 rubber rings long. Okay, so let me pick up my pliers again. And I think you're going to see quickly how this runs together. Remember, I've got 2 rubber rings being held together by 1 ring of each color of the rainbow, excepting dark green. So to add a new rubber ring, I simply hold it on top, flip that violet ring to the left, then we'll, just like we've done before, we'll add a new violet. We're going to put it through those top 2 rings. And this is how we'll be working the extension with rubber rings. So I flip the royal blue to the left. Grabbing those top 2 rings. My focus is a little wacky. There we go. Oops. And we just do the same, working our way around the entire circumference of the inner core. Okay, we're almost there. Here's the yellow, goes to the right of the existing yellow, grabbing the top 2 rings. The orange goes to the right of the existing orange, grabbing the top 2 rings. And one last time with the red. Okay, and there we've got it. To add the next one, it would be exactly the same. Take another rubber ring and hold it on top. Flip those violets to the left. And I'd add another violet right there. Flip the blues, add another blue right there. And that's how it goes. Just like the other one, we're going to mark the bottom. We want our rainbow to be going backwards. So look at the purple, goes to royal blue, goes to sky blue, so we know this is the bottom here. So, all right. I'm sure you know what we're going to do next, and I'm not going to do all of them because I don't want you to get bored. But we'll stack another one on top. And then we'll put a violet ring over this ring and that ring. Flip, put a royal blue anodized aluminum ring around this ring and that ring, and work our way around. So let's look at the completed segment, the completed piece, because I know you've got it now. The Fidget toy had runs of 5 ring runs of color. For the bracelet, you're going to have 7 ring runs of color. So let me start with red, because everybody's most familiar with red. Remember, this is the bottom. So we started out with red, moved to orange, to yellow, lime green, dark green, sky blue, royal blue, and purple. So we've gone through every color of the rainbow on all 7 rows. Now you may be wondering how the join will be affected with the rubber rings and 7 rows instead of 8. And it doesn't affect a thing. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to show you how to mark it. I won't join it because you've seen that before. So again, pick any row on the right. I'm going to pick this yellow because it's handy. Examine your rows. The row under the yellow marked ring is orange and then red. So the red row is 2 down. Straighten your rows, follow it across. Okay, so the red is on the right. If you follow it across, these orange rings are on that end. So just like before, the marked row, get that white out off my finger. The marked row is 2 rows below. The marked row on the left is 2 rows below the marked row on the right. And like before, we'll make sure the twist is complete. Right hand away, left hand towards, lay it on the table, and pull it towards you. I didn't remove my bottom marker, so I'll need to do that now. Otherwise, that very much gets in the way. Okay, so do the twist. Anytime I pick it up like that, I got to redo the twist, pull it towards me, and line up those 2 marked rings. And then we'll join it exactly like we did before. The next ring will be yellow. The first joining ring will be yellow to the right of that marked ring, and it'll come down and pick up here to the left of the other marked ring, the orange one. So that's it, and then you end up with this awesome bracelet. Now, what if you want to adjust the size? Because this is 56 rows long, 7 ring color runs, color sections. What if you want to make it a little bigger or a little smaller? That is easily done. All you have to do is, in a few sections, if you want to make it smaller, usually 3 ring difference is enough. Like make this color section 6, maybe that one 6, maybe that one 6. Likewise, if you want to make it bigger, make a few sections 8. You might not just need 2, you might want 3. You'll have to see for yourself when you're experimenting with it. But your eye will never be able to tell the difference that a few sections are 1 ring shorter or 1 ring longer. If you want to make the rubber core fidget toy, you know, it turns more stiffly than the others, but it's pretty sturdy. And we'll, just like with the metal core fidget toy, you'll also have 5 ring color sections. Checking over my notes, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. This is kind of a little aside. I may have mentioned earlier how much I love the bracelet in this form. I mean the weave in this form. It's just fun and festive. So I actually have made a couple bracelets, not by twisting and joining that way, but by adding a clasp. And let me show you how easy that is to do. All you do is pick up one ring, any ring, and then pick up the one exactly opposite. Okay, so you're picking up 2 anodized aluminum rings or 2 outside little rings and connecting them with your clasp. See, I've already done the other end. So there we go. I'm sure you can find a much more elegant clasp, but I think it's really fun to wear that way, especially this one. I just think that's really fun. So I think that concludes the tutorial. I'm looking at my notes. It looks like I've got everything. So thank you guys for spending this time with me. I know my focus is there. We go. I know you're going to enjoy making these. So thank you, and I hope you have a great day. Happy mailing. Bye-bye.